This is Marquette, Michigan, the closest town to Lakenenland and our first destination. Now for our quick tour of downtown Marquette. The reason I brought you downtown Marquette is to show you the place that Lakenenland affects the most. It doesn't affect the place as much as it does the people in it. It affects everyone positively, as everyone loves Lakenenland, and I want to dive deep into that. Now, after getting to show you guys a little bit of downtown Marquette, I want to bring you to Lakenenland, the final place on this tour. Now, it is about a 14-mile drive from Marquette, Michigan to Lakenenland. Now we've arrived at Lakenenland. Let me go show you around some of the sculptures in the park. Lakenenland is a sculpture park where you can find over 100 sculptures to look at, to climb on, like this one. In the wintertime, there is even a warm place to stop for snowmobilers. They can stop by the bonfire or even just to get a cup of hot coffee and get out of the wind. The park is even perfect for a family walk. The owner of Lakenenland was nice enough to let me have a few words with him about how we can support the Lakenenland community. We also talked about how Lakenenland became what it is today. My first question for you is, what inspired you to start such a huge project?
Well, like I said, I started building all this stuff and put it in front of my house, and there was only one piece at a time that I was doing then. But then when I couldn't have it out by the road where people could see it, I kept putting it in my backyard, and it was all kind of hidden back there, and I just wanted to put it out where people could see it. So after, having about 50 sculptures in my backyard, it's like, heck with it. I'm gonna just refinance my house and buy some property and start a park somewhere.
My next question is, was this your plan at first to turn this into a sculpture park?
Yeah, when I bought the property, everybody, my family, my friends thought I was nuts. They're like, "What are you doing?" It's like, I'm building a park.
When did you start to make all the sculptures for the park?
It was in the mid-90s somewhere when I quit drinking. So I've traveled around working construction all my life, and drinking kind of gets me a habit. You're living in a motel and on the road somewhere, and get off work and I might as well go to the tavern. So mid-90s, being married and kids and life changing a little bit. So
for anyone that is watching, are there any events held here over the course of a year?
Yeah, there's been several different things. One is the sled dogs go right through here, so it's a good spot to come and watch the sled dogs in February.
What a night! And we are just getting started.
In Father's Day weekend in June, on Saturday, there's always a kids fishing derby. South Shore Fishing Association hosts a fishing derby in the pond over there. And then in August, we usually have a music festival. You get like a dozen, 15 bands that'll come out and play for a Friday and Saturday night. And then, then there's a lot of different oddball stuff, like veterans rides and school groups that'll come out and whatnot.
Trout Unlimited hosted the veterans from the Jacob Betty home on a fishing outing at Lakenenland in Marquette County. This event was set up to help get veterans outside to enjoy one of their favorite activities. Even some members of the community came out to help assist these veterans. The volunteers wanted to give back to these men and women who serve this country. But this activity does help those veterans find some peace within the world and allows them to enjoy the outdoors.
Is there anywhere that people can donate to the park?
Yeah, there's a couple donation boxes, one as you pull in here and one back by the snowmobile trail. So, yeah, you make a few bucks out of there. That definitely helps, you know, pay for the porta johns through the summer and help with the taxes and all the upkeep and paint for everything. And
When people come to the park, is there a place where they can buy shirts and Lakenenland merchandise?
my wife has a little shop over there now, which was built last year, and she's got some T-shirts and like can coolers and sweatshirts, I guess.
Is there a certain kind of process that it takes to make the sculptures, or do you just go with it?
It's mostly just oxygen acetylene torch, a stick welder, and I got a handheld plasma arc, and working construction all my life. I mean, being a pipe fitter and boiler maker and whatnot, and it just all just part of the trade. Actually building these sculptures is pretty simple, because when you get on a job, you want everything nice and plumb level and square, and here just tack a leg on a dinosaur. Who cares if it's straight? Better if it's not, you know?
Yeah.
It's all recycled scrap. I mean, everything here basically come out of a dumpster.
That's what's really cool, that you can just turn all of the stuff that was just going to be thrown away into something that everyone can enjoy.
Yeah, it's kind of a challenge sometimes. Well, here's what you got to work with today. What can you possibly make out of this? You know?
Yeah.
And that's what most of these sculptures are. Sometimes I'll have a little bit of an idea what I want to do, but usually it's just look at the junk until you can figure out something to make out of it.
What kind of impact do you think Lakenenland has on the community?
Well, seems to be all good. You know, there's a lot of people that come by and enjoy it, and they bring their kids out fishing and playing on the playground, and you see school buses pulling every spring and May when they're having their field trips, and you know, sometimes winter ones, and yeah, I think it's all good.
Before we were able to end the interview, he wanted to talk about how the community has been so great with Lakenenland.
Yeah, everything's been excellent. Hey, the tourists and people are just awesome. There's been no problems out here with, you know, I'll take off and go to work for 2-3 months and come back and there's no litter laying around, nothing destroyed, no vandalism. So it's been pretty amazing, because that's one of the things I didn't realize. Didn't know what was going to happen when I started this. You know, somebody going to come out here and trip on a log and sue me for everything, or you know, destroy something, or haul it to the scrapyard and try to cash it in for scrap. Public's been excellent. The chocolate cops have been excellent. They come through and check on everything when I'm not around, and you know, it's nice to see them pull through. I told them that anything they don't want going on, I probably don't want going on out here either, and there's been no problems with anybody.
After our interview, I asked if he would be able to bring me around the park and explain to me how he made a couple of the sculptures.
That piece there, the uprights are the columns off of a small metal building where they have them tapered columns that go up. The top piece I made out of some pipe, a little truss. And then the circles are leftover scraps from that blue and white thing that's out there by the pond. That boat I got from one of the native fishermen that was around here. His name was Robert. He moved up to Baraga. He needed to go help his parents out there having health issues, and he says, hey, if you want this boat, come and get it. So I drug that down the snowmobile trail from Caboggin Road down to here. On the top right-hand corner, there's a big three-way vise, and that vise was used to make the rigging to build the Mackinac Bridge. The big block and tackle that was used in a stone quarry out in South Dakota for picking up granite. Old chainsaws, some ice tongs, and a bunch of other junk.
Next, Mr. Lakenen stopped to talk to me about why he made the nurses' sculpture.
Yeah, this is for the nurses there that had to struggle through COVID, and say they're basically the same as anybody that was sent off to war in World War II, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, you know, they're dealing with this COVID enemy, and it's I appreciate everything they've done, big time. They're definitely the heroes of 2020, and still today.
Up next is one of my favorite parts, the mining section.
The mining stuff was all stuff that I hauled here. The head frame was an electrical tower that came from behind the Beef Ruin Nagani. This big boulder here is like 18,000 pounds. That CCI gave me that after I was working down at AK Steel down in Detroit. And I got that block of steel from AK Steel, which is 3,000 pounds. So I got a hold of CCI and asked them how big a rock do I need to make a 3,000 pound block of steel. So they donated that to me so you can see how much ore you need to make that big of a chunk of steel. And that is actually how much steel you would need to make a half-ton pickup truck. That cabin, that was an old sauna down in Rumley. The roof had caved in and the guy was going to burn it all, so I hauled that here. And the boiler was a condensate tank that came out of Kimberly-Clark down in Munising. So I made it look like a steam boiler to run the winch.
After my walk with Mr. Lakenenland, I decided I wanted to talk to someone else about how they enjoyed Lakenenland. I was lucky enough today to get a few questions with a fellow Lakenenland enthusiast. My first question is, what is your favorite part about Lakenenland?
Really, my favorite part about Lakenenland is just being out in the woods with my friends and family and having fun.
How would you describe the Lakenenland experience?
Well, a lot of people say it's about the sculptures, but it's really about making memories that last for a lifetime with your friends.
My last question is, would you recommend Lakenenland to visitors of the UP?
I would. There are many sights to see, experiences to have, and many memories to be made. So yes, I would recommend everyone goes and sees Lakenenland.
Thank you for letting me bring you to Lakenenland and showing you what an amazing place this is. Thank you to Tom Lakenenland for letting me interview him. Lakenenland is a great place to visit, and it has a great community with tons of fun to be had there. It is a special place and there is nowhere else like it. I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to show you just how much of a secret treasure this place truly is. Thank you for watching.